Hi there, my name is Patricia Norvell, and I'm going to show you about knitting. To start with, you will need a few simple pieces of material. One and most important thing are knitting needles. Now here is a copy of, or an image rather, of one of the types of knitting needles that I use. Oops, sorry, here's what the other end looks like. These are metal knitting needles. They come in all different sizes, from size 1 up to size 15 or 16, I think. They could possibly be even larger than that. And I have a few photos here of other types of knitting needles. This one here is bamboo. The next one are acrylic. Can you see that? Then we have circular knitting needles, excuse me. This one is metal. I tried to, sorry about that, get as good of a copy of that as I could. And then finally there are wooden circular knitting needles. Now the reason for the circular knitting needles is in case you would like to make a poncho. Some sweaters or vests call for it, especially when you want the neck area to have a larger opening. And some blankets are made on circular knitting needles because, let's face it, it's kind of hard to fit all those stitches onto a needle that is just, this size here. There's a few that might be a tad longer, but the main difference in these is the thickness of them. Some will be really thin and some will be thick like this one. Here is an example of a thinner one. Can you see that? And then here is the thicker one. I don't know if that gives you any idea or not. It's your personal preference really as to what size you want to use. Although the pattern may call for, say, a size 8 if you're making say a baby sweater, but you don't like the type of yarn that it calls for. Yes, there are different sizes, types, and textures of yarn. So if you go with your regular type yarn, which is this right here, it's more coarse, and the darker color that you get, the heavier and thicker it is. So when you're knitting with it, it comes together and forms more tightly. Whereas when you use a lighter color or like real fine baby yarn, it will be much softer and more pliable, which is what you want when you're doing something like this, for a baby or for a child. Now I have got some examples here. Sorry about that. This here is an example of what the purl side of a work looks like. You see that? And this is the side that a knit side looks like. And I have here in comparison side by side for you. This one here is purl. This one here is knit. Oops, sorry. The purl one looks more like waves or ridges, and the knit one goes, up and down, forms kind of like a V shape. Now, once you choose or decide what you want to make, then of course you gather the supplies that you need, the correct size knitting needles, the type of yarn that you want to use, and then I'm going to show you how to cast on. That's where we begin when we make anything. There are several different ways to cast on, but I'm going to show you the quickest and easiest way that I know of. And of course, in your book, as you get more advanced in the level of knitting books that you choose for the patterns of what you want to make, you will learn all these different styles of casting on. This one here is the basic. You want to start off with by making a hole like this. And how you do that is you take and you wrap the yarn around like this, wrap it around once, then you grab the loose part of the yarn and pull it through, kind of like a slip knot. Put it on your needle like this. Take and put your thumb and your pointer finger in here like this. Pull the yarn down. Then you take the needle, you place it in where the thumb is, and you go through and bring it inside of where your pointer finger is. And then bring it back through the thumb. Then you let go, tighten it up. There are 2 stitches to begin with. I'm going to quickly get 8 more stitches on here to give you an idea of what it looks like. It's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And the more confident you become with what you're doing, the quicker you can do this. Once you get that done, then you want to take and you want to tie, bring this long piece here that's left over with the other, and this is just to help secure this more so it doesn't unravel as you're working with it. Now you grab your other needle, and to knit, you place it in the hole that's in front, not behind, but in front, like this. Then you grab the yarn, the long part that's attached to the skein or ball of yarn, and then you wrap it around the back needle, the one that you placed in the hole. You wrap it around once. After you do that, you want to slide it down and then pull it through the hole, well, the yarn that's on the other needle. I'll show you again. Put through the front, wrap the yarn around like so, pull it back, and then bring it through. Now I'll go ahead and quickly get the remaining stitches here done so you can see what it looks like once that row is done. That's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So look at that. Usually I can go much faster, but I have arthritis and my MS is acting up on me right now, so I'm not doing as good as I normally would do. 10. There we go. And so that's what that looks like. See? Now that's the front side, similar to what I showed you of what the knitting looks like. And then this back part here, if we were to purl, that's what it would look like with the purl. Okay, so now I will tell you how to purl. Basically, you do the same thing that you just did with the knitting. The only difference is you slide it, instead of sliding the needle away from you, you stick it through the same hole that you start with, but you point it towards you. Then you wrap your yarn around it like so, and then you pull it through the opposite way, slide it off. Once again, put it in towards you, wrap your yarn around through the hole there, the other piece of yarn or loop, slide it off, through towards you, wrap it around through the loop that's on the other needle, slide it off, and that is called a purl stitch. There are several different types of stitching that you can do, but that would take way too long to demonstrate, and I'm pretty sure I've already taken up too much of your time anyway, and I apologize for that. There's no real quick and easy way of doing this. Okay, so put that needle down, if it will cooperate, and then there we go. Okay, now that's the purl side. That's the knit side. The knit is more smooth. Now there are some patterns that will call for all knit, and in that case, when that happens, it looks like this, like what I showed you before. That's all knitting. Both sides are identical. And in fact, if you have patterns that call for all purl, well, they actually look the same as the knitting. See? There we go. Only difference is the knitting is tighter, so you don't see air pockets or holes through there, whereas the purl is looser and you can see gaps and holes through there. I have made washcloths is what I'm working on right now, and here is one of them, and that is done with the knitting up here, and then this is where you knit so many stitches, purl so many stitches. It's called a cable stitch, and you just, or basket weave, and you go back and forth like that. And then here is another one that I'm working on. This here is actually a pot holder. And then there's this one, which is also done in basket weave. And then finally, this one here, the last one that I'm working on, right here. You can actually see the variations in the stitches there easier. Well, I hope I didn't take up too much of your time, and I hope it wasn't too boring for you. That's basically what is involved when it comes to knitting. Thank you very much for your time.